It's all the hype with me, Jason DuFault. I'll be your host. And normally I start this off with a joke, but I think we're planning for 2020, and we're looking to the future of what 2021 is going to look like. Excuse me. And I think I wanted to basically start this off with a question to everybody here because planning for 2021, if you haven't started doing that, you probably behind the eight ball a little bit, but that's okay. Um, there's a couple things you're going to want to ask yourself of what you're going to want out of the results of 2021. And that question today I'm going to ask you is, would you rather suffer from the pain of the discipline of the work at the end of 2021, or would you rather suffer from the pain of regret of things you didn't do, regret of the things you should have done? And only you know the answer to that. But I thought I would start it with a little bit of a question to everybody out there that looking at their 2021 and wondering what to expect. And we've been through a really crazy 2020, and some people have found some great success and other people in their business, and some people haven't. It's been an up and down for a lot of people. But I think as we look towards some of the levers that matter in your business for 2021. I'm going to hit on a couple of those today. And I want to be sure to be clear about why I'm hitting on these different levers of your business today and why it's important. And the reason it's important is that you're all on this call today because you want to be successful and you want to learn something you didn't know. I want to teach something to all of you and to become a better student myself. Teaching helps that, but you have to have a couple things. So you might want to write this down. If you're not writing it down, you're going to want to write it down anyway. One is you have to have a clear vision and what that's going to be. And two, you got to surround yourself with a solid strategy and employ practical systems and execute consistently. And with those things, those four items, you will be successful because most people can't do that. Most people don't even have a clear vision of what they're about, what they're, when they get up in the morning, who they are and what they're going to be doing. And most people don't have a strategy, don't know where or what to do. And they don't know where to go to learn practical systems to put into place. And then consistency all the time. Mediocre consistency is better than binge working, couple 2 days and then nothing at all. Consistency is the key to success here. And most people can't tell you in 12 words or less what their vision is. Can you? I mean, it's very important that you have a clear vision of what you're going to be doing, who you are, kind of like where I am now, where do I want to go, and what do I got to do to get there. And if we were in a classroom environment, they'd say, you'd probably say to yourself, I really, in 12 words or less, I really can't figure that out. And can you, Jason, can you do it? Well, I thought about that today. And I really thought about in 12 words or less, what would I be able to explain my vision is of my professional and personal life? And not a definition of who I am, but more of a visionary statement. And I want to create value and transformation to the people I come in contact with. That's it. Value and transformation. Value to my clients, my family, and my friends, and transform their world with the kind of help and understanding and knowledge that I can share with them to be a better person, more successful professional, whatever it takes. And I think that's 12 words, but you get my point. And I think that's the most important part of today and what we're trying to create. How do you create value? Well, I can tell you that, simply said, in our work in real estate, two things that I do better than anyone else is that I do what I say I'm going to do, and I return all my phone calls. Just out of the box, get up in the morning. I've got a head start on most people. So think about these things as we go over these items today, these levers of your business, and think about where you are, where you want to go, and how you want to get there. And hopefully some of these levers that we cover today will help in that process. And it's just a process. It's just kind of figuring out what you need to do. And I want you to know that focusing on these things is more important than your intelligence in these areas. Because if you can focus in on some of these activities, you don't necessarily have to know about everything. And that's some of the misconceptions we have in this business, is that we've got to know everything before we get on the phone. We got to know everything before we talk to somebody about real estate. And that's not true. You need to focus in on more of the activity and what you need to accomplish. Then you have to focus on learning everything before you go out there. And that's the most important part. And I think a lot of times we fear not knowing a lot. And because we focus on what we fear and we don't do things, we're not consistent, and we're not getting out there with a little bit of mediocre marketing out there, right? Then you start to not really understand the difference between just call it productive failures and non-productive success. You know, if you get out there and you fail and you learn and it was productive for you, that's what you need to experience. That's what you need to do. And that's kind of what leads you to a clearer version, your 12 words or less vision of how you can explain to people, and having some fluency in that area of explaining to people what is it you do and how you do it. So think about that as we go through this today. And I think it's really, really important that we focus on the energy of what we're trying to accomplish. And I'll cover some of that at the end after we go through some of these levers. So let's talk about metrics and measuring. You know, I have a coach, and sometimes what I learn from my coach, I pass on to you. And that's what I'm here to do. I don't pretend to be the person that made this stuff up. I don't pretend to be the person that is the best at all of this, but I know that it has helped me and scaling my business and moving forward this year. And I look forward to what it can do for me in 2021. So what you measure gets done. Simple fact for 2021. If you're not measuring your activity, you're not measuring the leads that you get, you're not keeping track in some system, a spreadsheet, you need to start measuring what you're doing. Now, what do I measure on a daily, weekly basis? Well, I measure the number of phone calls that I make in a day, because that to me is a direct correlation to the effort and the energy that I'm using to talk to people and get things done, right? So for me, it's about 25 phone calls, okay? Sometimes it's 50, but it's always 25 or more, no matter what it is. Now, I may not talk to 25 people, but I measure it every day, and I do that 5 days a week. Now, sometimes 25 means I talk to 5 to 10 people. Sometimes I end up talking only to 3 people. And in this particular case, I don't count emails. I just count and measure phone calls. Emails are probably a little bit different. I'm probably communicating with anywhere from 12 to 16 people a day, if not more. But is it measured towards marketing? 25 phone calls, I have outbound phone calls that I'm measuring to make sure that I'm looking for new business. People that need me to help them through the process of investing or selling real estate, okay? So measuring your calls, measuring appointments. How many people are you meeting with per week? Okay. And we kind of get into this right now, we're going to talk about, we're measuring, we talk about time management. And I know sometimes I always preface this because I don't want to get in trouble, but I know KW talks a lot about time blocking and time management. And that's important from a perspective of getting the work done. But I've always said that I've measured my calendar not with time blocking, but with appointments. And the only two things that go on my calendar are personal items, like time with my family, doctor's appointments, things like that, and appointments for business. And that's it. Because I like to manage my time and energy. I don't manage a to-do list. And when you do that, is my energy worth this? Is my energy worth that? Is energy worth time meeting with this person? You come to find out that you could manage a to-do list all day long and have nothing to show for it. So if you're measuring something for yourself in business for 2021, why don't you set a goal for the number of appointments you like to have? And in this particular case, appointments can be Zoom calls, appointments can be conference calls. They don't have to be in person. I think I touched on this in one of our past sessions together about appointments and the definition of an appointment. Sometimes people look at it as an appointment as, talking about real estate, I set an appointment to a listing appointment or a buyer's consult. Those aren't necessarily appointments. I mean, they are, but they're not the only ones that you define as an appointment. Getting on the phone with somebody to introduce yourself, to get a referral, or to speak with vendors that you call, or whatever it may be, those are appointments as long as you're focused on getting new business and asking for business during those appointments. One of the things you can do in keeping track of these is if you get, like, mine's 2 a day, and I know that I'm behind on my 2 appointments a day right now. I'm not looking at it right now, but I know I'm behind. I think appointments can be, hey, I've got a doctor's appointment. When I'm in the doctor's appointment, I'm going to make sure that I let them know what I do for a living. Everyone gets my card, and I ask if anyone knows someone that may need some help, or have you purchased real estate in any time in the last year, and are you planning on doing anything soon? That's an appointment to me. That's something that even on my coaching clients, I ask, are you asking questions in wherever you're at? And count those, but you have to be mindful about putting that back into your metrics, about measuring that. Because if you don't measure, if you don't really put a mindful thought to measuring what you're doing, you'll just end up not having any results, because you're not tracking, like, I was in that appointment, I didn't ask, so I really can't count that as an appointment. Until they come up with some other better term than appointment, I guess we'll just have to use that as the definition. So I measure appointments. Okay. I measure calls. Of course, I measure closings, escrows, everything else that goes transactional. But right now we're talking about planning for 2021, what you do, kind of the character of you on your phone, in your office, at your kitchen table, wherever you may be, and what are you measuring, and is it effective? Because we go back to what I talked about in the beginning of today was, where am I? Where do I want to go? And how do I want to get there? That's part of measuring and the metrics you use to be successful. But you want to keep it simple, right? So you want to measure the transactions you have and the escrows you have and where you're at, your leads, how many people, do you have in your leads, who's hot, who's not, right? Where you're spending your energy, managing your time, but your energy, right? And so the appointments that you make would be a good start. Hey, if my goal is 2 appointments a day, how much positive energy time spent on some of my task items do I need to do to make that happen? And if you get on 2 appointments a day and you're doing it 5 days a week, you're guaranteed to get business. But we go back to what I talked about earlier today, when I began, is that's part of a clear vision, right? That's part of a solid strategy that you have. And it's a system, right? Could be simple, but I like simple. I love simple. I always pretend like I'm 4 years old when I get up in the morning, right? And executing consistently. So if you did nothing other than to get on the phone and talk to people, to get appointments set, 2 appointments a week, I guarantee you'd get some business, but you got to do it consistently. What's consistently mean? That means that you're going to suffer from the pain of discipline, the pain of doing it every day, the pain of going through your fears, right? Fearing that something bad might happen. So what? So then you have a productive failure. And I think that's an experience that you need to have in this business so you can learn, so you won't forget. But you've got to measure. You've got to measure your calls. You've got to measure your appointments. You've got to measure in order to be successful. And it's a huge part of this, and a lot of people don't do it. So make sure that you're measuring your calls, your appointments, your escrows, obviously, your leads, hot or not. Warm is not a color or a temperature that I use. It's either hot or you're not, right? You're hot to trot, you want to buy, you want to sell, you need to go, you need to trade, or you're not. And not can just be, a call or a phone call, but those leads that need attention right away, that's where I like to spend my energy, my physical energy. Otherwise, I get tired and it's useless, a waste of my time. And a waste of their time too, because they're not really doing anything with their real estate needs at this time either. So think about that. Let's talk about peer groups and accountability. This is part of the strategy for 2021, which I think is going to be monumental for everybody, because I know people talk about the circle of five, the people that you're around all the time, right? All the people that you are around are basically a mirror image of where you're going to be. So if you're focusing on partying all the time, you're not going to get anywhere with that. You're going to be partying all the time. You're going to be somewhere where you don't want to be. Where am I now? Oh, I'm partying. Where do you want to go? I want to have a beer at 5 o'clock. Well, just where you're going to end up. How are you going to get there? You're probably going to drive, right? I mean, that's what you're focused on. Your accountability is surrounding yourself with groups of people, individuals that are keeping you accountable, but not only like a day-to-day, like everyone needs another parent. I'm talking about accountability to yourself. They talk about character is what you're doing when no one's watching, right? God only knows what your character is because he's the only one watching, in my opinion. Well, pure accountability is about having a group of people around you that maybe the accountability is to the fact that you see their success around you and you want to be a part of that success. Maybe you have a person that you talk to on a regular basis, right? So sharing your production numbers, sharing your professional numbers, your appointments, or the number of calls and some of the things that you struggle with. Maybe you had a productive failure today that you want to share, that you get together with someone on a weekly basis. That's really important for 2021. Why is it really important? Because we're not in big social groups right now. It's not that easy to go out and meet people. It's not that easy to go out and have a coffee with a group of people like it used to be. So you're going to need to make this really, really important and mindful about tasking yourself to have accountability to other people and the people that you surround yourself with. And sometimes when you think about it, if you have a peer group that is dragging you down, that's full of people that aren't like-minded like yourself, then you need to spend less time with them if it's affecting your job and your personal life. If it's not getting the production numbers that you're looking for, who are you surrounded by? I know it sounds harsh. It's a cold statement, right? Like, well, because I like my friend. I've been friends with him for 30 years. Doesn't mean you have to drop your friends. It just means that you have to put yourself in a group of people that are like-minded, that are goal-seeking, people that want to be where you want to be. And what you end up finding is that your peer groups will change because your focus is different, because your vision is different. And the focus on that and executing that consistently is important. Should you be accountable to yourself? Sure. Sometimes you got to pick a partner. I know I've got a group of people that I get together with once a week. We all do different types of business in real estate, but we help each other out and we grow together, and we're constantly feeding off each other of different ideas and opinions, and it helps. And it really helps you stay focused, more focused than you could ever by yourself. Even for those that are most effective by themselves, would do really, really well with a peer accountability, if not anything else other than making it a real big goal for you in 2021, because it's harder to do. And as things are moving forward, we don't know about what the state of COVID's going to bring for us as far as getting together in the near future. So we've got to stay adaptable. We've got to stay, the ability to make those groups happen. And it really takes a phone call and say, hey, you want to get together and make it work over a Zoom or a conference call. If you're not getting together in person, that can happen. But it's huge for 2021 because it's just not happening naturally. Even here at the office, we've opened up our office to have some in-person stuff, but it's not back to what it was. So it's not as easy to get in front of your peers. That's just hands down. So you have to make it part of your 2021 plan to be accountable to some groups and some people or another individual. And do yourself a favor, reach out to some people that are maybe even more successful than you are. And would they mind being, an accountability person, or is there a group that gets together that you like to be a part of? And push yourself into a very uncomfortable position to be accountable to those things amongst people that are, more successful than you, because that'll help you in 2021 with new, fresh ideas that you'll be able to put into your business plan and change as we go along. Because we know in 2020, nobody's business plan that we were planning in 2019 looked anything like what 2020 became. So you have to move and adapt, right? As they say, shit happens. You got to be adaptive and move forward. Okay. You got to be able to change and adapt. Huge, very, very important. Marketing and technology. If you haven't been writing anything down until now, right now is the time to start writing it down. And even if you're not writing it, write it down, right? That's what my coach says. I love it. So when it comes to marketing and technology, you need to leverage marketing and technology, and you need to be testing your marketing and technology on a consistent basis because things are changing, right? So whatever marketing you use for your business, you have to measure it and see what kind of results you're getting. So let's say your social media marketing, let's say you've been doing using a certain service and you're not getting the results. You need to be testing new ideas for social media and marketing. You need to test new ways for digital ads. You need to find new ways and try what's coming out in the market, try different things that haven't been working, right? Or try things that have been working and get rid of things that haven't been working. Are you marketing for sale by owners? Have you tried that yet? Get out there and try it if something isn't working for you. You have to consistently be testing and using different marketing and technology in 2021 more than ever. And you need to leverage your relationships with people that have been doing it, know better than you, and figure out what they're doing. Figure out if you have to leverage to get someone to do it for you, if that would work. I know that I use for some of my mailing to my past clients in my database, I utilize someone to get that information out so that I know it's being done. Otherwise, it just stacks up and I get behind. I have to make sure that I'm measuring the technology that I'm using and if it's becoming effective for the kind of cost that I have, right? Because the amount of money that I spend for technology is a lot. I have access to a lot of data, information, tools, all sorts of stuff. If I'm not utilizing that, if it's not making a difference in my business, I need to know. So you need to make sure that you're measuring the marketing avenues that you're using. And if you don't like the ones you have, there's lots of choices out there. So you need to make sure you're choosing ones that are more effective and most effective for you. So what are some of the marketing, well, I was to say, information that I get that I market to? What do I focus on? Well, in residential, I think the best way you can go about who's going to buy or sell next is going to be in life events. I think they're always been that way, and it's going to continue to be that way. So if you're marketing to people who have had deaths in the family, someone who died, divorces, right? You know that they're about 60% or more possibility that they're actually going to sell in the next 6 months than anyone else on that block, right? Having people that are expanding their families when they announce births, things like that, huge, huge marketing opportunities. And how do you go about marketing to them? Talk to someone that does it on a regular basis and make sure that they tell you how to individually go after those homes. You're marketing to them just like anyone else, but you just happen to know that if you send them more marketing material and keep track of them, they're going to be more apt to sell than anyone else. At least 60, 70% more chance of them selling than anyone else on the block. Very, very important. Are you marketing to homes around homes that go on the market? There's a higher probability that homes around new listings will go for sale than any other homes around. Are you mindfully setting your marketing and you measuring what you're doing? This is huge. I mean, if you don't know what's working and what's not working, how are you supposed to be effective? You know, I mean, we talk about productive failure. If you're learning that this particular marketing method doesn't work, then you know, and you're moving on to the next. If it's not effective for you, you got to know. I put in so many hours, I spent so much money, and I got no results. And I know that because in the month of October, these are my metrics. This is what I measured. And you have to be testing new marketing venues all the time. Very, very important. Very, very important. Leveraging people. This is really important. I think, you know, when we talk about people around us and we talk about peer accountability groups, we talk about, you know, charities that you are participate in, leveraging your business through using your connections with people is very, very important. It's also important that you know that in this business, whether you like it or not, eventually you're going to have to hire yourself an assistant, or you're going to have someone helping you with your business. And a lot of people go, I don't know about that. That costs money and I don't want to spend a ton of money. Well, you know, I was listening to a podcast today, talked about this, and it was about, you know, someone will go out and spend $600-700 on dinner, a couple bottles of wine, great food, entertainment, you know, great memories and all that, right? But you ask someone to spend $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month in hiring a part-time assistant, or, you know, maybe, you know, someone that comes in once a week, twice a week, and they're the first person, well, I got to think about that. Well, I mean, really? $2,000, $3,000 a month, and you're spending $600 at a dinner? I mean, you got to really prioritize what your choices are. And when it comes to people, you're going to have to hire an assistant at some point. You're going to have the people around you to hire a transaction coordinator. You're going to have to hire somebody to help you, or bring someone on your team that's going to take a portion of the deals that you bring through the door. But you're getting twice as many phone calls. You're getting twice as many appointments. So you have to be willing to leverage the people around you. And then that goes for help too. We've got a great office here in Long Beach, fantastic support group, great leadership, like-minded people. And I've been around a while and I've seen a lot of offices, and I can tell you this is a special place. This is a special place in time because the people here are mindful of that very lesson, that we're here to help each other, that we bring value to each other every day. And if you can reach out to get the kind of support you need from the people around you, whether it's in your office or at home, you need to reach out to get help so you don't have to go through and reinvent the wheel. Leveraging your team leader, leveraging your broker for information, understanding, asking questions. You need to get in the habit of asking a lot of questions in this process, because without it, you're not going to learn enough. And if you are fear-based in the way you approach the growth of your business here, you are going to find yourself in a position where I wanted to be over there. I wanted to be over there and successful, but I was unwilling to ask and do the fear-based, you know, lack of asking questions or leveraging people or help in your office. And that's part of growing your business. You know, it's part of 2021 because this business is going to get harder. In my opinion, and you know, I've only been doing this for a long time, since 2000, something like that. I've seen some hard times, that I've also seen people in the worst markets in the world do their best work. And I think 2021 is going to be a market where we're really going to have to grind it out, which can be a positive, right? If you're disciplined, if you've got a vision, you've got a strategy, and you're applying that, you can be successful in any market. Don't whine about how the market is, right? Just get busy with the market and do the business you need to do. It changes, you got to change with it. But leveraging people around you, let's talk about vendors. What about title? What about escrow? They've got a wealth of knowledge and experience to help you out. You need to leverage those people, give them a call and say, listen, I'm looking to grow my business. Do you have anything that could help me? Could you supply me with data? What are we looking for? What kind of homes are you looking to sell? What kind of investment strategies do you have for your clients? Title has tons and tons and tons of experience, tons of tools. You just have to ask. And if you don't know who to ask, talk to your team lead. They'll give you some good information about what relationships to leverage, who can be most effective with the kind of personality that you have, and who easier for you to work with. But it's so important. So, you know, leveraging vendors is huge. Leveraging people in your office is really important for your business in 2021. Always has been, but like I said, you need to get your ducks in a row for 2021 because it's going to be a doozy. And number 3 with leveraging people is that, you know, the sphere of influence that you have around you. I had a guy come in, a friend of mine, good friend of mine, came in to work with us last year, spent a year here, and he just wasn't as successful as he needed to be. And I asked him, why didn't you think you were successful? He says, because the sphere of influence that I have, I thought was going to be a stronger support group for my professional revenue growth with sales. And I was wrong. That's what he said. And it wasn't that he couldn't work beyond that, but he just thought that in his strategy, that his sphere of influence was going to propel him for some revenue growth that would possibly let him maybe have more money and leave with revenue, that kind of thing. But I think he realized that he didn't leverage his sphere of influence enough to get business. And when he did, he came up short. So in your sphere of influence, in 2021, leveraging people is the growth of your database. You need to manage and nurture that database like no other. You need to grow it. You need to be in contact with these people on a consistent basis. Your social media presence needs to be out there so people see your face. You need to be in contact with these people all the time, and you need to be the real estate person for them. You need to be the person that brings them value when you speak to them. Maybe sometimes it's not real estate, but you need to be of value to them when they see you, that you're portraying this image of professionalism, character, strength, and someone they can count on in the event that something happens. And I think moving forward, you need to grow your database, and you need to be putting people in your database. So we go back to measuring, in the number 1 lever that we talked about in appointments. You're adding people to your database consistently, and you're measuring how many people you add on a daily basis. I know in Bold, it's something like, you know, we're talking 20 people a day, right? We're not adding that many, but, you know, I think if you're adding at least 5 people a day to your database, you're probably doing a pretty good job. And if you've been doing it 4 days a week consistently over time, that's a lot of people. And keep in mind, when you're marketing to people, just FYI, I've mentioned this before, you're going to get people that are going to say, please stop emailing me and take me off your list, right? If that happens to you a lot over 2021, I'm going to tell you, you're doing your job. You're consistently marketing to these people, and some people just don't want to hear it. That's okay. The more people you take off your list, the better you're doing your job of getting to those people and knowing that your message is being received. Now you can tweak your message from, from one to the other, depending on what works and what doesn't work. But you need to be consistently adding people to your database and leveraging the sphere of influence, which is your database, all the time. And if there's people that you haven't gotten to, send them a personal note. Send them something that's, all about them and talking to them in a personal way. Get out and reach those people. Just the other day, I had an off-market opportunity in an investment. And I've been working with this individual for quite some time. It hasn't really bought anything with me or sold anything with me yet. And I've been working with him a good part of a year. And we're getting close. But the other day, I shot him an off-market deal. Sent him over the numbers to ask him, what he liked, because I asked him about it and its performance. And he said, no, I'm not really happy, with numbers like that, but let me look at it. So I sent him over the numbers. And then he went dark. I couldn't reach him. For a week, I couldn't reach a guy. I mean, it's unreal, right? So I picked up the phone this morning, because I've been trying to communicate with him, obviously, and hadn't heard from him, but I just keep trying. Picked up this morning, he picked up the phone. We looked at it, and he said, I'm going to pass. But at least I got my answer. I mean, what did my coach say? I'll love on you if you do. I'll love it if you don't. Well, I got no problem with that. I'll put something else in front of it. But at least I got the answer. Someone said, I think someone says, yes or no, yes is better, but it's okay. At least I got an answer. If somebody doesn't want to be in your database, it's okay. At least you know. If you're not leveraging that information in your database on a consistent basis, then you're going to put yourself in a place where the growth in 2021 has become a problem, because you got to measure this too. You got to know how many people you're putting in on a daily basis, how many people you're taking out, right? I mean, you take out 5. I mean, if you take out 5 and you only add 2, you're down 3. So you got to know what it is that you're adding and subtracting in your business, whether it's, leveraging your database, whether it's your marketing, your technology, your peer group accountability is huge. Now, number 5, learning, education, coaching, whatever you want to call it. You need to get a coach. You need to get somebody who knows what to do. And it's not their job to make you accountable to all your activity and the things you need to do. You need to get a coach that knows a lot more than you do about business, about marketing, about what good ideas they have, what you're doing. Someone you can be, really, you could add that to your peer accountability, but it's certainly not a peer, it's a coach. So you need a coach. It's a game changer. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. I fought this for many years. So let me tell you, it is paramount to your success. And I know some people go, oh, I need a coach. I've been doing this a while, blah, 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 blah. You're wrong, flat out. Nope, thanks for playing. You need a coach. Because the coaching presents sometimes just one thing. I meet my coach every, twice a month? Sometimes 3 times a month. And we'll go over some stuff. Some stuff's repetitive. But then he'll say something. There'll be one thing that he says, right? And I'll think, oh my God, he's right. 2 sessions ago, give you an example so you know that I'm not just lying to you in some way, right? He said, for our next session, I need you to hire someone and fire someone. That's what you need to do. So I did it. And that was like a month ago. And my business has really benefited from that. And it was almost immediate. And I don't know why I needed him to tell me that. I should have done it a long time ago. But I did it.
And I'm so happy that I did it. I'm so happy that I was able to create value to my business by doing something that my coach taught me to do. And it's really, really important. So if you don't know how to get a hold of a coach, talk to your team lead, talk to one of your peers that you're accountable to. Find someone that works for you, something that works, that pushes you to be a better person, better professional. It's about understanding that you can't do this alone. In fact, not only did I apply this to myself, but I also realized that in this weird time that we're in, this strange COVID world of 2020, that I realized that my son, my youngest son, needed a coach as well. Because he doesn't have a coach for baseball because there isn't any. He doesn't have a coach for football because there isn't any. He doesn't have a coach at all. So I hired a coach. Just did it on Sunday for my son. He's a tutor. He's a baseball coach. He's a teacher. And I realized he needed one as well. And I think it's going to make all the difference in his world. Because right now, kids, it's just very painful for kids. If you've got kids in school doing distance learning, it's FUBAR, big time. And so hiring a coach for my son, I'm 100% sure that it's going to make a difference in his life, because coaching is making a big difference in my life. The only caveat to the 11-year-old is that he doesn't know that coaching is going to change his world. And I don't know if he's actually looking for a paradigm shift, but he's about to get one. So I think, obviously you got to be asking the questions of, how to become a better professional. What's my 2021 going to look like if you're just starting out? There's going to be a lot of opportunity in 2021. We're going to see, in my estimation, we're going to see a lot more pain out there in real estate when it comes to some of the commercial opportunities. I think some people are in the same boat in their single family homes and their personal lives. I think a lot of people have been keeping themselves afloat in certain areas for people who lost their jobs. And I don't know if we're going to see as much support coming soon enough. So there's going to be opportunity to help people out, whether that's going to be helping them sell their homes or helping them find new homes or new places to live. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity, but you got to be willing to work, and you got to be willing to put together that vision of what your 2021 is going to look like. And you got to be able to consistently produce that practicable knowledge that you have about this business to the people around you when the opportunities come. And, if you have a solid strategy, like we talked about, looking at my notes here, and you employ those systems and you measure them. So you measure, right, your calls, your appointments, you manage your time and your energy well. So you're putting your energy into things that make sense. Your peers, your groups, accountability, yourself and others. Marketing, different ways of marketing during 2021, making sure you've got some choices moving forward. And then obviously leveraging the people around you. Hire someone, fire someone. I have written down here. I did it. It's empowering. And I recommend it to anybody that's struggling. Look at your teams, look at the people around you, and make a change if you need to, but make sure you're leveraging people around you, your vendors, and the people that are vital to your business, including escrow. Ask escrow for help. I know our escrow, Sarah's fantastic. She's done a great job, and not to toot her horn, but she is a grinder, and she will work and help and come up with creative ideas and solutions. Would I have known that and I had not asked her for help? No. So I had to ask. And then learning, coaching, education. Got to get a coach. You gotta get education. Continually feed your brain positive information. You know, take a fast from news in the markets. It doesn't matter what's going on. You need to focus on feeding your brain really important stuff. You know, I mean, for me, it's every day. You get up in the morning, you get to it. I started a new regiment right now where I'm getting up about 4:30 in the morning, and I actually do some reading and studying in the mornings, and then I go work out. And it's fantastic. It's been empowering as well. And so I really urge you to get a coach. I urge you to do a lot of education on how to become better at this job. KW offers a tremendous amount of opportunity there. Take as many of these classes as you can. So hopefully something that I've said today will help you the way my coach helps me every 2 weeks. And I hope well, I know that if you consistently execute these things in a simple way, keep it as simple as possible, you will be successful. You will see things happen for you as far as sales. You will see increased revenue, shake loose the things that are dragging you down in your sphere of influence and the peers around you, and really come up with something in 12 words or less that can fluently express and communicate to other people what kind of vision you have for what you do and who you are. And I would say those are things you keep track of for 2021. And that's it. That's all I've got. We're going to end a little bit sooner today. Hallie, are there any questions that anyone has?
Well, you answered quite a few of them on there, but Mocha asked earlier, I'm not sure if you touched bases on it, but where are you doing your calls outside of your SOI?
Well, for me, I have a source through CoStar, which is something for commercial stuff. That's where I get all my contact information, but that's just for commercial real estate. For the residential, what you can do for your calls is you can talk to Title. Title can find a way to get you that information. I know that there are a couple different places, and it's relatively cheap to buy the phone numbers and so forth. So that's a good way to start. Call your Title rep, and they'll have an idea of how to get that done.
Wonderful. That's it.
All right.
Wrap things up.
That's it. I mean, everyone have a great day. Be good humans. And what's all the hype? We'll be back next month. That's it. Have a good day.
Okay, I think I've ended the live stream. Let me just double check here. Okay, cool. It's over. Thanks, Jason. That was awesome. We had quite a few people watching, which is great.
Cool. How did it sound?
Awesome. Well, if you go look on the posts too, it's really funny because people, Nolan was saying that your radio voice is really nice. No, I think it was very articulate, Jason. I think you did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it made sense. That wasn't too much.
No, oh heaven's sakes, no. And I think people need a good dose of reality right now for a bit. So cool. That's great. Well, thank you.
Hey, and nice. It's always good to have a face for radio, right?